So I got my license in September 2012, 11 years now. At that time, I had no experience with real estate. The only thing I had was that my parents were real estate agents, but I didn't really learn anything from them. I didn't own any properties. I never knew how a property was sold or purchased. I'd never gone through any of that before. I didn't even know how to get a loan. And so I was very green to the process. And luckily at that time, when I was studying for my license and looking to get into the business, there was a friend of mine who had already gotten her license and was exploring some options in some companies. And she had found this company and these agents that were looking to start a real estate team. And she was like, look, why don't you come check this out with me? I think it'll be a good opportunity. Everybody on the team was brand new. And so I was like, well, at least I won't feel out of place. I can go join a group or a team where everybody is starting at the same time. I remember there was probably about 10 to 15 of us that had started. And it was great because all of us didn't know what we were doing. And we had these two mentors that had been in the business for like 15 years and like 20 years at the time. And so we felt very comfortable that they had a lot of experience, even though we didn't. Whenever you're starting as a real estate agent, there's several options. You could join a company as a solo agent. And as a solo agent, you're pretty much on your own. You have to do everything by yourself. You have to learn the ropes by yourself. You have to get leads and you have to understand sales and prospect. I looked at that and I was like, well, that seems kind of lonely. The second option is joining a team. And I was like, well, if I join a team, then if the ship goes down, we can all drown together. No, I figured if I join a team, we could grow together, right? We could learn and grow through the experiences together. We'd probably all have the same questions. That sounds like a pretty good idea. And, if I messed up, there was somebody there to kind of help me through the weeds. And so when you join a real estate team, there are certain splits that you have. As a solo agent, you go in, you get a higher split because you're on your own, right? There's more work that you need to do. But as a team, you are on a team split, which generally is a little bit lower. The team split that I was on was a 50-50 split. So anything that I earned, I received 50% of that, and the team leader would receive the other 50%. Also keep in mind that there are fees that you have to be aware of when you join a company. And those could be desk related, resource fees, anything like that. And the fees that I paid were like 7%. So really what I was making, not 50%, but was 43% of the actual transaction. But if I invest that and learn from somebody who can basically help me learn and understand the business, then I was like, you know what, that's kind of worth it. And so I did that. I did that for literally 9 or 10 months. When I got my license, I didn't start on day one. I actually started probably 2 or 3 months before that. I knew I was going to take my test. I studied and I was working as kind of like an intern for the team. And I had a really, really good foundation when I got my license. And when I finally got to a point where actually I could sell, I was kind of off and running at that point because I had some internship ahead of that. I got my license and then it was like 3 months, maybe like 2.5 months till I got my first sale. And that 2 to 3 months was very, very stressful because you didn't know when you were going to get your first sale. So in my first year in the business, I had a really good first year. Now, mind you, I got my license in September 2012. I didn't make my first sale till about 3 months later. So September, October, November, December. December is when I actually closed my first sale. And between September to about 9 months from there is when I accumulated all of my sales in my first year. And I actually sold 21 homes in my first year. I didn't know if that was good or bad. Everybody that I talked to at the company after my first year was like, wow, you had an amazing first year. Most agents sell like a couple of homes in their first year and you sold 21. And I was like, okay, great. I didn't know what to compare that to because I was so new to the business. So I ended up learning that was actually a really good first year of mine. Now, mind you, 2012 prices back then were much lower, especially with COVID. Things went up like 25, 30%. And pretty much we've had a very good market since 2012. Everything was appreciating probably at about a 3 to 5% year over year until COVID happened. Then the spike happened and we had like 25, 30% appreciation. And in the last year or so, it's kind of gone down since then. But the market's always gone up since I've been in the business, and I probably got in at a really good time. Timing is really, really important. In my first year, I had 21 sales. I had an average price point of $468,000. So I remember back then, if I had sold a home for like $600,000, that was really, really good. That was really, really good for me. In my first year, I didn't sell a home over $1 million. The lowest sale that I had was $270,000. The highest sale that I had was $840,000. And so anything between $270,000 to $840,000 and everything in between that was kind of my bread and butter. My GCI, which stands for Gross Commissions Earned, came out to $268,000. That was a lot of money. A lot of money. The year before that, I didn't make anything close to that. So to make that much in my first year was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know that anybody could actually make this much money in real estate. And it wasn't until after my first year that I really decided that that was going to be the career that I wanted. But keep in mind that $268,000 wasn't all mine. I have to split it 50% with my mentor. And on top of that, I had a 7% transaction or resource fee. So really I was making 43% of that $268,000, which was still a lot of money. It was more money than I had made in my lifetime, right? And so it was a lot of money for me. And so to make 6 figures my first year, I was very, very happy. Now, keep in mind, there's 35% or 30% that you need to attribute to like taxes. If I was to break it down, and I was to take my gross commission earned, $268,344, divide that by 2, I get $134,172. Now, if I go ahead and calculate in the 7% resource fee that I had paid, becomes $124,779. Amazing first year. That's not normal. There are some people that do more than that, but the majority of people don't do that much in real estate. So I don't want you thinking that you're watching this video and saying, I can make that my first year. You certainly can. The potential is there, but I don't want to set the wrong expectation. You have to work your butt off. To break down all of the sales, of the 21 sales that I had, 28% of them came from online leads. So I did pay for some leads, but they were like social media at that time, what's called Trulia. There were things that you could pay for. It was a few $100 a month at that time. It wasn't a ton of money. And 28% of that was attributed to that. My SOI, which is my sphere of influence, came out to being 9.5% of that. So people that I knew that was like, hey, I'm willing to give my friend an opportunity, I was able to convert on that as well. Open houses were the majority of my business. It was 42.6% of my business. That was almost every single weekend I was at an open house, Saturday and Sunday, sometimes even doing morning and afternoon. So I would do 4 on a weekend, but 42% of that was from that. Office call, my very first sale was 4.7, and door knocking, which I did almost every week, 4 or 5 days a week, was 9.5% of that. So it was a lot of work, and you've got to put in a lot of effort in order to get there. And that was how much I made my very first year.